In this video, we will be reading, exploring the vocabulary, and discussing the responses for CSEC Spanish Paper 2's Reading Comprehension for June 2025. But first, are you new here? Please do not forget to subscribe, like this video, share this channel with your friends, and click the notification bell so that you can be notified every single time that I post a new video. Now let's jump right in. The New Chocolate Detective. Me gusta mucho comer chocolates. No me importa qué tipo sea, chocolate blanco, oscuro o con leche, me encantan. Creo que este amor por el chocolate es genético, pues a mi madre le encantaba también. Su preferencia, como la mía, es Boyer y Ferrara. Cuando era joven, me gustaban tanto los chocolates que mi madre trataba de escondérmelos. Pero soy buena detective y cuanto más los escondía, más los encontraba. Su escondite favorito era en la parte trasera de un armario en el comedor. Cada vez que encontraba los chocolates, tomaba uno y volvía a ponerlos tal como estaban. Mi mamá nunca me vio tomarlos, pero ella sospechaba porque siempre faltaba algún chocolate. Ahora que soy madre, sufro igual que mi madre en cuanto a los chocolates. Ayer compré una caja de Boyer y automáticamente la escondí de mi hija menor en el armario. Esta mañana, cuando fui al comedor, vi a mi hija con la cara cubierta de chocolate. Parece que tenemos una nueva detective de chocolates. Now let's read it in English. This can only be done if we already know the vocabulary. So let's learn some new vocabulary as we go along. I really like eating chocolates. I don't care what type they are. White chocolate, dark or with milk, I love them. I believe that this love for chocolates is genetic. Well, my mother used to love it as well. Her preference, like mine, is Boyer and Ferrara. When I was young, I used to like chocolates so much that my mother used to try to hide them from me. But I am a good detective, and the more she used to hide them, the more I would find them. Her favorite hiding place was the back part of a cupboard in the dining room. Each time that I would find the chocolates, I would take one and I would put them back just as they were. My mother never saw me take them, but she used to be suspicious because she would always miss a chocolate. Let's pause right here to identify the verbs and the tense that is used in this paragraph. The first verb here is tratar, which means to try. Now, the essence of this whole passage is to talk about something that used to happen, as the writer is reflecting on what used to happen when she was a child. Now, this phrase, cuando era joven, is a huge indicator for the imperfect tense, which is used throughout this passage. The imperfect tense is that tense where we have AR verbs ending in aba, abas, aba, abamos, aban, as we see in the diagram here, and ER and IR verbs end in iya, Illas, illa, íamos, and ian. And the imperfect tense is used to talk about things that would continuously or habitually happen in the past. It's usually used when recalling a story or when reflecting on a certain period of time, which is what's happening in this passage. So the first verb here is tratar, and as we can see, it's an AR verb, so it ends in aba, as it's reflecting the LA usted, and it therefore means my mother used to try. Now, the next verb is esconder, and esconder means to hide. Now, this verb is being used with object pronouns. So, my mother used to try to hide. We have the infinitive of the verb. Them talking about the chocolates from me. All right. And here we can see the same verb esconder in the imperfect tense once again, because it's talking about the mother again, the Elia usted form. She used to hide. So here we had it in the infinitive to hide them from me, and now she used to hide. Now, the more she used to hide them, we have our third verb, encontrar. The more I would find them. And encontrar is an AR verb, which means to find or to meet, like to meet up with someone. But in context, in this passage, it's to find. So the more the mother used to hide the chocolates, the more the speaker would find them. And the imperfect tense sounds like something that would happen or used to happen. So you'll hear me referring to the word in two or three words: used to try, or would try, or used to find, or would find. All right, so it doesn't mean found or tried as the preterite would sound, because the preterite has more of a complete sound. The preterite is another one of the past tenses in Spanish, but on the contrary, it refers to completed tasks in the past, while the imperfect tense refers to actions that were continuous in the past, so actions that would happen or used to happen. The next verb we're going to look at is tomar. Tomar means to take. So I would take one. Now we have two verbs here in this next verb clause. Volver is to return and poner is to put. However, in this context, we have a verb phrase. Volver a poner is now to put back. So I would put them back. Our next verb is ver, which is to see. And this verb, as we can see, it doesn't end in the imperfect endings. It is the preterite tense. So my mother never saw me take them. All right. So this is ver in the preterite tense. And then we have sospechar, which is to be suspicious or to suspect. So we have it in the imperfect tense once again. My mother, she used to be suspicious or would be suspicious. And our final verb in this paragraph is faltar, which means to miss. She always missed or always used to miss a chocolate. Now, the imperfect tense uses different phrases that can help us to also identify it. And siempre is one of those words because it refers to something that always, siempre means always, something that always happened. Before we move on to the final paragraph, let us pause to identify some of the other vocabulary that were seen in the second paragraph. Did you know that the words armario and comedor were featured in my last video, Las Partes de la Casa? Click on the link in the description box to check it out. Do you realize how important vocabulary is in understanding a passage? Let's continue with the final paragraph. Now that I am a mother, I suffer equally as my mother as it relates to chocolates. Yesterday, I bought a box of Boyer and automatically I hid it from my younger daughter in the cupboard. This morning, when I went to the dining room, I saw my daughter with her face covered in chocolate. It seems that we have a new chocolate detective. So we see the final paragraph switching to the present tense and similarly the present tense to recall something that happened yesterday. So the speaker has now shifted from reflecting about the past to talking about the present. Now that I am a mother, ahora que soy madre, I now suffer the same way that my mother did. Yesterday is our keyword for the present tense, ayer. That's another indicator for the present tense, something that occurred in a complete way in a particular point in the past, yesterday. I bought a box of boyer and automatically I hid it. So we have the same verb esconder, but now it is in the present tense. Escondi. Similarly, we have this morning, which is another indicator of the past. This morning has occurred already. So we have the verb ir, fui, in the present tense. This morning, when I went to the dining room, I saw, once again, we have the verb ver, vi, in the present tense because it's talking about what happened this morning in the past. So this morning, I saw my daughter with her face covered in chocolate. So, now that we have explored the vocabulary and understood the passage, let's move on to the questions. Question A. What are two types of chocolate that the narrator enjoys? In the passage, we were given three options, so any two types would suffice. Therefore, my answer is the narrator enjoys white chocolate and dark chocolate, or we could say white chocolate and milk chocolate, etc. Question B. Why does the narrator think that her love of chocolate is genetic? She believes so because her mother used to love chocolate as well. Just a reminder that for our responses, we are to locate the answer in the passage and basically translate it in the responses. Let us go ahead and find where this response was. I believe that this love for chocolate is genetic. So, what comes next is our response. Well, my mother used to love it as well. So, that is our answer. Let's move on to the next question. What mention is made of Boyer and Ferrara? Boyer and Ferrara were her mother's preference of chocolates. They were preferred by the speaker as well. This question is only worth 1 mark, so this is the only response that is necessary, the fact that it was preferred by her mother, as we can see right here. Question D. Where exactly were the chocolates hidden when the narrator was young? They were hidden at the back part of a cupboard in the dining room. If we were to go back to the passage, you would see how important it is to know the vocabulary. Had we not known the words trasera, armario, or comedor, we would have been at a disadvantage. Yes, it is only worth 2 marks. However, all of these words make up a part of the mark. So the more vocabulary we know, the better off we will be. Let's move on to question E. What evidence shows that the narrator was a good detective as a child? The response I gave was that the more her mother used to hide the chocolates, the more the narrator would find them. And I took that directly from the passage. Question F. Describe what the narrator did when she discovered the hiding place. Now, the question said describe, so we need to put exactly what was mentioned in the passage. She would take one and then put back the chocolates just as how they were before. So this is a direct description of what occurred as written in the passage. So I explicitly translated this sentence to give the answer to this question. Question G. What made the narrator's mother become suspicious that she had found the hiding place? Her mother became suspicious because she was always missing a chocolate, though she would never see when her daughter took one. This question is worth 1 mark. So I believe the answer is because she was always missing a chocolate, and we can go back to verify it in the passage. Question H. Describe the first thing that the narrator did when she returned home. Now, this response is found in the third paragraph. So, this sentence is where we will find our response. She automatically hid the box of Boyer chocolates in the cupboard that she had bought from her younger daughter. Question I. What evidence made the narrator say that she thinks there is a new detective? The evidence was that she saw her daughter with her face covered in chocolate. And a response can be found right here in paragraph 3. The final question. Question J. Hoy sufro igual que mi madre, which means today I suffer the same way as my mother. Explain why the narrator makes this statement. The narrator's point is that just as she used to find her mother's hidden chocolates, despite every effort to conceal them, her daughter is now discovering the chocolates she now tries to hide. Therefore, both she and her mother experience the same struggle, all because of their shared love for chocolates, which has now apparently been passed on. So she suffers in the same way because she would find her mother's chocolates, and now her daughter is finding her chocolates, which she tries to hide from her. And we can justify our response with everything that was described throughout the passage. Eso es. Thank you for joining me for another reading comprehension session. I hope you enjoyed it and learned lots of new vocabulary. I look forward to studying with you again very soon. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe to my channel, and stay tuned for more videos. Adios!